Welcome. You're about to take a journey into Gregor Mortis's little world of horror. And here's your host, Gregor Mortis.
Hey guys and gals, Gregor Mortis back here with a little wrestling video. My wife and I are this is a time you're in for a treat. We got some VHS goodness that we just picked up today and a few that came out of my collection that I thought I'd share to you if we got time. But anyways, we're going to do some wrestling tonight, man. We had fun doing that a couple episodes. We're going to do it again. So, these are going to be coming from Buried Under the Comics Toys, which is out of Wilmington, North Carolina, where I live. And this is a local comic book shop. And he has toys and videos and you name it, dude's got it. But he hooked me up. Now, this first one was actually eBay, so I'm going to give eBay guy. But anyways, let's go ahead and get to it. First one up, VHS. This is War Games 87. War Games 87. One of my all-time favorite wrestling pay-per-views. I'm a big Jim Crockett promotion, NWA, WCW type guy. But this was the one of the best pay-per-views in my opinion. This was the first inaugural of the War Games, which was where you had two wrestling rings together and you had the steel cage. And it was really awesome. And this one had the Road Warriors with Paul Ellering, and you had Dusty Rhodes and Nikita Koloff. Nikita had just recently went from being the bad Russian to being on the good side. This was shortly after Magnum TA's career-ending crash. But Nikita had joined up with Dusty. So we had them, and it was against the Four Horsemen and J.J. Dillon. So you had Ric Flair, Tully Blanchard, Arn Anderson, and Lex Luger at the time. And this pay-per-view right here also has the Sackett. They did a Sackett War Game, so that's on here as well. Really good stuff. We also have, let's see what else we had. Jimmy Garvin, Dr. Death, Steve Williams, the Freebirds, Rock and Roll Express, Midnight Express, Big Bubba. Lots of good stuff. So this was War Games 87, the Great American Bash. So super excited on that one. So there's that one. All right, now these are going to be the ones that I picked up at Buried Under the Comics. First one up is Starrcade 88 from Turner Home Entertainment, and this is True Grit. It was called True Grit, Starrcade 88, and I know I've seen it, but I don't remember much about this one. But this one has Nature Boy Ric Flair versus Lex Luger, no disqualification for the championship belt. Sting and Dusty Rhodes versus the Road Warriors with Paul Ellering for the NWA Tag Team Championship. Barry Windham versus Bam Bam Bigelow. How cool is that? So that was for the U.S. Heavyweight Championship. Mike Rotundo versus Rick Steiner for the TV title. And then you got the Midnight Express fight for supremacy. You got Ivan Koloff, Junkyard Dog, the Russian Assassins, Paul Jones, and much more. Really looking forward to getting back to this one. I have not seen this in many, many years. So once again, True Grit, Starrcade 88. And I think where was this one out of? I don't even remember where this one's out of, actually. Not sure. But anyway, there you go. So, 88 Starrcade. Next one up is 1989's Starrcade, and this was called Future Shock. Starrcade 89 Future Shock. And this one right here, I remember not being that great. I'll be honest. But I wanted it, because I want anything Crockett, I want anything WCW. But who will survive to become the wrestler of the 90s? Ric Flair, Sting, the Great Muta, Lex Luger, is on this video. It's the world's top four wrestlers in a fight for survival. Six-time NWA World Heavyweight Champion Ric Flair is the target of Sting, the Great Muta, and Lex Luger as they battle in a grueling round-robin series of 6 sudden death matches in a final showdown. And plus you got a tag team tournament in the same way, and you got the Road Warriors, the Wild Samoans, and the Steiner brothers in 12 bout rounds. So good stuff. Can't wait to check out on that. We'll see if it got any better than the last time I done it. All right, the next one is from the WWF. I know it's WWE now, but back then it was WWF. This is the 4th annual 1990 Survivor Series. The 1990 Survivor Series from the WWF, and I'm about ready to drop the cassette tape. Sorry about that. So right here is a very important of the Survivor Series. You say, why? Why, Greg? Why is this one so important? Because The Undertaker debuted on this pay-per-view. The great, the iconic Undertaker, yes, the Phenom. This was his debut in WWF. So what we had here were the Hulkamaniacs, which was Hulk Hogan, Captain Jim Duggan, or was the captain. You had Jim Duggan, Tugboat and Boss Man, they were versus the Natural Disasters. You remember those guys, Earthquake. And you got Earthquake, Dino Bravo, Haku, and Barbarian. The next one was the Warriors versus the Perfect Team, which had the Ultimate Warrior with the Legion of Doom, Road Warriors, and the Texas Tornado, as well as the Perfect Team, which was Mr. Perfect, and then you had Demolition, and Demolition had Crush over there as well to kind of form up their three. Then the next one was the Alliance versus the Mercenaries, which was Nikolai Volkov with the Bushwhackers and Tito Santana. Remember them? That's super cool. And they were fighting the Mercenaries, which was Sergeant Slaughter, Boris Zukov, and the Orient Express. Now, the Orient Express had a guy named Pat Tanaka on it. Pat Tanaka I met way back in 80. Oh, man, it was like 85, 86, 87 at an NWA event near my hometown. And I remember Pat Tanaka pinching me in the side to kind of, it's funny. Next event was Dream Team versus the Million Team. All right, our $1 Million Team. So we had Dusty Rhodes with the Hart Foundation and Coco Beware versus Ted DiBiase, Rhythm and Blues, which was Greg the Hammer Valentine and the Honky Tonk Man. And then a surprise team member, which was the Undertaker. And then we have the Vipers versus the Visionaries. The Vipers versus the Visionaries. That was Jake the Snake Roberts, the Midnight Rockers, and then you had Jimmy Snuka versus Rick Martel, Warlord, and Power and Glory. So that's that event plus backstage and stuff. Once again, here we go. See if you can get up a little bit closer. You can see that. Bam, bam. Super excited to have and watch that one right there. Next up is from WCW. This is 1992, and this is Super Brawl 2. Super Brawl 2. This one had Sting versus Luger for the NWA World Heavyweight title or the WCW Heavyweight title. And this was the time when Luger was he was going to be soon going to the WWF. So this is kind of getting in that era. And this also has the Steiner brothers, Jushin Liger and Flying Brian Pillman and Ravish and Rick Rude. Sup, ladies? So, yeah. It says, best friends, now bitter rivals, brawl for it all. Luger versus Sting. And cannot wait to check this one out. I used to own this one way back in the day. Now I got it again. All right, next one is 1992 as well. I love this one. Spin the wheel, make the deal. Spin the wheel, make the deal. This was Halloween Havoc, 1992. This was the infamous Sting versus Jake the Snake Roberts. They had to spin the wheel of death. And there was 12 different events that could happen. They were going to spin the wheel, and whatever it landed on, they had to do. I think it was like First Blood. There was coal miners glove match, all these different matches. Bull rope match, and they ended up being the coal miners glove. And yeah, I can't wait to check this one out. Jake Snake Roberts, Ron Simmons versus the Barbarian, Mr. Chono versus Rick Rude. Rick Rude had to wrestle twice that night. He had to wrestle Nikita Koloff. Rick Rude was the U.S. champion. And then after that, he had to fight Chono for the NWA title. Good stuff. So can't wait to check that one out, 1992. Next up here is Starrcade 1994. Starrcade 1994. Now we're getting into the Hulk Hogan era of WCW. I kind of started checking out around 95. For about 5 or 6 years, I didn't watch much wrestling. And so I missed a lot of the Hulk Hogan NWO era. I know about the NWO, and I've seen some of the NWO, but that's an era where I got to go back, and hopefully the WWE will stay on Peacocks. Somewhere they'll keep the streaming, I hope, where I can watch all the pay-per-views and all the shows. We'll see how that works out. If not, I might have to scrounge to find VHSs and stuff. But anyways, this one right here had 3 main events, 3 times the intensity, never before. Johnny B. Bad, Honky Tonk Man's in it. Kevin Sullivan, Mr. T made his WCW debut. Nasty Boys against Harlem Heat with Sensational Sherry. So looking forward to this one right here. All right, and then I'm going to do real quickly. These are going to be a rundown. These are a few that I had in my collection that I started getting them together. And I said, well, I'll just throw these in and just lump them in the video. This one is probably top 3 pay-per-views, in my opinion, for the Jim Crockett promotion era. This might be my number 1. Always has been one of my favorites. It's 1986's Night of the Skywalkers. This one was so much good. This was when the Rock and Roll Express wrestled the Midnight Express on a scaffold match. And the infamous time when Jim Cornette climbed up the scaffold, fell, and he fractured his ankles or whatever it was. This one's got some really good matches in it as well. You've got the Rock and Roll Express versus the Andersons in a steel cage. You got Ron Garvin versus Big Bubba, hair versus hair match, which was Jimmy Valiant versus Paul Jones. You got the First Blood match with Dusty and Tully Blanchard. And then you had the Road Warriors. It was the Road Warriors. I'm sorry. Why didn't I say Rock and Roll? That was the Sackett year. Sorry. Scratch that. The Road Warriors versus the Midnight Express when Jim Cornette fell. Duh. The Rock and Roll Express done it later. And then you got Nature Boy Ric Flair versus Nikita Koloff for the championship. So, yeah, I was the dude. That was stupid. Anyway, Starrcade 86, Night of the Skywalkers, good stuff. Watch, give me that look like you're a goober. This one was a Pro Wrestling Illustrated. This one's only 60 minutes long. I bought this years ago. It's called Lords of the Ring. Lords of the Ring. This is Superstars and Super Bouts. And it's basically like a highlight type reel. It's not a lot of just matches and stuff like that, but all the color, confrontation, and stuff. So you've got Bruiser Brody and, oh my God, so many. Look, Roddy Piper and Greg Valentine, the dog collar match and stuff like that. So good stuff. All right, and then we got Starrcade 87. Now we got 87, 88, 89, 90. Yeah, I'm racking up with the Starrcades. Starrcade 87, this was Chi-Town Heat. Chi-Town Heat. This was a decent pay-per-view. I remember this one from Jim Crockett as well. This one right here had the Lex Luger and Dusty Rhodes steel cage match for the U.S. title. Nikita, Road Warriors versus the Anderson, and well, it was Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard. Some good stuff on this one. And also Larry Zbyszko, Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert was there at that time. So some good matches, man. And I was always a big fan of Tully Blanchard and loved that event. All right, next one is another one of those Turner Home Entertainment that was basically like highlights and stuff. This one was called The Danger Zone. The Danger Zone. And I'm not talking about some Kenny Loggins stuff from Top Gun, but The Danger Zone. And this one had like some highlights and stuff as well. Magnum TA and Missy Hyatt gives insight into unbelievable wrestling treasure. And just some good stuff. I guess it was only like 60 minutes long. It's not super long. Anyways, yeah, around 60 minutes or whatever it was. But The Danger Zone. I always liked the cover of it, though. So got that one. And then this one, I remember somebody gave me this one, dude. And this is over 2 hours, but it's the most WWF's most memorable matches of 2000. Most memorable matches of the 2000s. And this was a tape that, like I said, it's about 2 hours long. Never have watched this one, though, man. You got Royal Rumble. You got the street fight for the championship, Triple H versus Cactus Jack. First ever WrestleMania 2-fall triple threat match for Intercontinental Championship, which was Kurt Angle, Chris Jericho, and Chris Benoit. Fully loaded, you had Last Man Standing, which was Triple H versus Chris Jericho. Championship match, The Rock versus Chris Benoit. And then SummerSlam of 2000. TLC match for the Tag Team Championship, Edge and Christian. My wife's going to be like, yes, Edge. Versus Dudley Boys and Hardy Boys. Oh, we know a lot about that one. So anyways, there is that. So that has been the video tonight, man. That's just some of my VHSs I picked up recently and want to share with you. Trying to gather a bunch of old WCW, NWA stuff. Hopefully we can get some more of these in the future. He's still got a bunch more at the comic book shop. And I'm doing some searching on eBay. They can get a little pricey, so I've got to keep mine down on the low. So I do some bargain shopping. So I hope you enjoyed that. We got some really cool video thoughts coming up. I've got a rather large WWE DVD sets, you know, the sets like the U.S. Championship and World Title and, you know, all these singles. And I've got a bunch of these. I think I'm going to do about 1, 2, 3 different videos and show you my DVD collection of those. Some of them, I got one of them autographed and just different stuff. So I might show that in the near future as well. So some stuff coming up. But with that said, now we normally do horror, but I do like my wrestling once again. So if you like horror and you want to hear our horror podcast, it's landofthecreeps.blogspot.com. Check us out over there. And we're available on all platforms that you listen to podcasting. I would love for you to do that. And if you haven't, if you're new to the channel, like the channel, but please subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. I would love for you to subscribe. And stay tuned as we're going to start pumping out more videos here in the future. So with that said, we want to say help keep horror alive. We do that one movie at a time, one review at a time, but we also do wrestling, keep wrestling alive. Go watch as much wrestling as you can get. We're going to see on the flip side. And as Ravishing Rick Rude would have said, suck, ladies. He'd have said, for all... I ain't going there. But anyways, we love you guys. We'll see you on the flip side. Peace.